Hey there, Nopenguin here, and welcome to Budget Virtual World. That's right, this is a $60 build of Virtual World with a full 15 card extra deck. This took a little bit of time to put together, mostly because I really wanted to get 15 cards in the extra deck, and I'm really glad I did. This deck is insane. I'm so surprised how well this works just like a regular VW deck. The only real downsides to this is, of course, the hand traps are a little lackluster. We only have one Lulu, but that's perfectly fine because we could just search for it with our cards. Like, it's really not that much of a problem. And yeah, honestly, this deck is amazing. And my favorite, absolutely favorite inclusion here is we got Penguin Heroes because, come on. Unfortunately, no Nopenguin, but we are able to access Nightmare Penguin. Now, we have to go with Nightmare Penguin as opposed to Penguin Soldier because Penguin Soldier is a level 2 monster, and the VW stop us from summoning level 2s or level 1s this turn. But Nightmare Penguin works just as fine. Again, this works so surprisingly well, but you'll see that in the replays. Let's get into them. Our first game is up against Penguins. Now, I was super surprised to see Penguins here on the ladder, but that's not the only reason I chose this. If you haven't noticed, my hand is dog shit. 3 Desires and a Twin Twisters. And what does he get out? Motherfucking Dragoons. So, yeah, this is an interesting game. So, I'll go ahead, try to play Desires. Of course, they're going to negate it, but it negates the activation, so Desires number 2. At this point, I literally had 4 goddamn VW cards in my deck, so we had to make it work. Anyways, luckily we did draw the right amount of things to go out right into Tizokin, set the card, and go for Crystal Wing. Now, Crystal Wing is an absolute out for Dragoons because he's already popped his effect. Go attack into him, and he's dead. And that's pretty much game. He's on top deck city, and he cannot recover. And to add insult to injury, he drew Fridge. Alright, our second game is up against Abyss Actors. Now, this replay just goes to show what happens when my opponent's playing nothing to interact with me. So you're just going to see the deck go off, and here's really a good way to see that this deck can still do everything that VWs are able to do. Minus a few really good cards in the extra deck, it still has all the plays. It still has access to Lulu, still has access to all the big power cards that they need here to get their plays off. Penguin Heroes! I had to fit it in the deck, folks. I just had to. But yeah, this really just goes to show that even though it's a $60 deck, it's still a very powerful deck. And of course, there's not really much the Abyss Actor can do, but let's watch him try. And that's it. Our final match is up against Gladiator Beasts. Now, Gladiator Beasts are an archetype that can really go off if you let it, and unfortunately, I only have a Lancia that does literally nothing to this deck. So we're going to be able to see Gladiator Beasts do the absolute most that they can, and this is insane. I'm just going to let this replay play, and I'll show you how we break the board. Alright, so I'm going to pause the replay here and just show you what kind of a board they were able to make. So, they have both a Spell and Trap negate, a Monster negate, and Barrier Statue. Let's see how Budget VW handles this board. Luckily for us, they misplay insanely hard by not negating either my King Long or my Kowloon with their Heraclinos, basically allowing us to get all the Spell and Traps we could ever want this turn and negate their monster effect. So from here, we're able to just completely go off. The wind restriction does not affect us in the slightest. Shen Shen is a wind, and that's really all I really needed here. So we're going to go ahead and pop the Heraclinos, summon Lulu, and just beat over their monsters. From here, I'm going to reduce the level of Shen Shen just so we can go to Vermilion Mech and get rid of that problem card that we've negated. And at this point, we have 2 cards here in the Banish Zone, so we can just go ahead, shuffle 2 in, and clear the board completely. Now, their hand is absolute garbage, so this is not going to be a problem whatsoever to find game. So we're going to go ahead into Lin Lin. Vermilion Mech pop the card. They're going to get rid of our Lin Lin in the grave, but we have Shen Shen. They didn't banish it for whatever reason, and we're just going to be able to go for game. Oh, right, and that is the deck. Like I said, I am so happy with how this turned out. This is this is literally just virtual worlds. Like, I don't know what to say. This works so much like virtual worlds. So if you're a budget player, this is actually a deck I would recommend picking up. Of course, if you already have things like Ash Blossoms or certain extra deck staples, we can throw them in there. And just this deck, I don't know what to say. It's good for $60. Okay, yeah. I guess if you liked it, please give me a like, subscribe if you want to see more jank decks, and yeah, till next time.